There are plenty of misconceptions and myths that people embrace about leaders and leadership. And I want to give you 5 of the most common myths. Number 1, the management myth. A widespread misunderstanding is that leading and managing are one and the same. Up until a few years ago, books that claimed to be on leadership were often really about management. The main difference between the two is that leadership is about influencing people to follow, while management focuses on maintaining systems and processes. You see, the best way to test whether a person can lead rather than just managing is to ask them to create a positive change in the environment and in the organization. Managers can maintain direction, but they cannot change it. To move people in a new direction, you need influence. And number 2, another common myth is the entrepreneur myth. Frequently people assume that all salespeople and all entrepreneurs are leaders, but that's not always the case. Some may be able to persuade people for a moment, but they hold no long-term influence with them. Salespeople and entrepreneurs who want to become leaders have to continue to grow their influence through really relationships and productivity. Number 3, the knowledge myth. Sir Francis Bacon said, "Knowledge is power." And most people believing power is the essence of leadership naturally assume that those who possess knowledge and intelligence are leaders. But that's not automatically true. You can visit any major university and meet some very brilliant research scientists and philosophers whose really ability to think is so high that it's really off the charts, but really whose ability to lead is so low that it doesn't even register on the charts. Let me say this, IQ doesn't necessarily equate to leadership. Number 4, another myth is the pioneer myth. Another misconception is that anyone who is out in front of the crowd is a leader. But being first isn't always the same as leading. You see, to be a leader, a person has to not only be out front, but also have people intentionally coming behind them, following their lead and acting on their vision. Now, lastly, a common myth about leaders is number 5, the position myth. Now the greatest misunderstanding about leadership is that people think it is based on position, but that's not really true. And in fact, Stanley Hufty affirmed, it's not the position that makes the leader, it's the leader that makes the position. You see, the true measure of leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. And if you don't have influence, you will never be able to lead others.